Yeah, that really sucks. Hello everybody, how are you? Hope things are going well for you. HPI, Hobby Products International. Man, they're in trouble again. And it's a real shame. If you are a long-term member of the RC hobby, or especially if you're joined the hobby when you're in your younger years, maybe your teenage years or whatever, you'd be very familiar with HPI, and you've probably owned several of them. They're famous for inventing the Savage, probably their most iconic model ever, the bashable monster truck, and it's all its variants: the Nitro one, the electric one, the Savage XL, and all the rest of them. Savage Flux, which can do standing backflips. The Savage Octane. Anyway, yep. They've also done various touring cars. We had the Sport, the Sprint, Sprint 2, Sprint GTI. There was the Super Nitro. They've done lots of stuff over the years. The Sprint is what I have the most fond memories of. I owned the Sprint, and I first started competition racing with a very heavily modified Sprint. Scots have got a Sprint. I just recently sold a Sprint GTI. They're very popular on-road model, really good car. But unfortunately, like I say, HPI have gone into administration very recently, just at the start of this month, as I'm recording this, April 2019. They did, well actually no they didn't, HPI Europe went into administration a few years ago, 2016 they did, and it was just the European branch. It was the change of distributor. They changed to some Swedish distributor, I think. For a while there was a big problem with things like stock. You couldn't get anything. The website said you could still order, and they would try and honour warranties and all the rest of it as normal. And they did say, please just treat us like normal and put any orders in like normal. But there were definite, back then there were definite stock issues. You couldn't get hold of anything. It took months before things started rolling in again. HPI weren't there to answer emails and all the rest of it. Well, HPI Europe again weren't there to answer emails. Now I'm not sure if that any of that had to do with the I don't know the background behind that, but I wondered if there was anything to do with the Traxxas lawsuit that they were subjected to. Basically, there goes my phone. Sorry. A few years ago, Traxxas sued HPI. Traxxas are in a very they have a bit of a very immoral practice of buying patents from companies, and also patenting things they didn't invent. For example, they famously sued Arma over the cantilever suspension system on the Arma Nero, because they claimed it was the copy of the one from the Revo, which is very similar. I mean, it had very similar design, but they obviously didn't invent the cantilever system. But you know, I don't really. And people were saying it's because it was identical dimensions and everything, but I'm not sure if that was the case. They just bought the patent for that, or the patent for that, and successfully sued them. You can go on. I'll put a link to a website where you can get a list of Traxxas patents, and most of them are nonsense. Things like a wheel for an RC car. They've genuinely patented that. You're like, well, you didn't invent that. Tamiya were making RC cars for 20 years before you even existed. But that's the sort of thing they do. But anyway, they successfully sued HPI a few years ago over a waterproof receiver box. Again, Traxxas didn't invent that. But if you had, I don't know if you noticed or not, but for a while, you'd get an HPI and it would have a rubber gasket around the top of the receiver box for the lid and to seal it, and it was waterproof. Then Traxxas sued them, and then since then every receiver box at HPI would be included with it had no gasket. It wasn't waterproof anymore. The gasket was gone. It just had the lid. So therefore, it was no longer a waterproof receiver box, and that was a result of this lawsuit. Now that obviously cost them. I think they lost it, and it cost them somewhere in the millions. That might have had something to do with it, but at the same time, it would have been Traxxas. Sorry, not Traxxas. It would have been HPI of America, I would imagine, who took the brunt of that. I don't know if that had anything to do with HPI Europe. then running out of money and having to go into administration and changing their suppliers. Anyway, that's all in the past now. I thought they'd recovered. Everybody thought they'd recovered, but now it turns out HPI Racing themselves have gone into administration, and hopefully they'll be bought over by somebody. I really do hope so. Now, HPI are, more than most companies have got, lots of happy memories from me personally, with me and my friends. Most of my RCing friends have owned an HPI at some point, and yeah, they've made some great stuff over the years. There is an issue right now with what do you do with warranties. I don't know the answer to that. The problem is, if you buy a brand new product that has electronics, like an RC car, you've got the motor, you've got the speed control, you've got the radio gear, anything that has an electronics, if you buy a phone, you buy an MP3 player, you buy whatever, you have by law some warranty for it. Now the company can't offer you a warranty right now because technically the company is between owners. It's in limbo at the moment, so I don't know how that works right now. Another thing is part support. That's going to be gone until they find a buyer. If they find a buyer, I really hope they do. I've always, over the last few years, I've said, Matthew and I do a video about this every year at Christmas time, beginner RCs, and I've rated the Maverick series of cars, like the Maverick Strada XT, the current one. It's a very good beginner truck. Now, at this moment in time, I have to withdraw that and say I can't recommend you buy a Maverick right now, because right now you can't get a warranty. Right now you'll buy a brand new truck which has no warranty and might have zero part support. So right now you shouldn't really buy any HPIs, and that's a bit sad. HPI are a really good name, and they used to. Well, the HPI have used some of the best. I've said this many times. Some of the best quality plastics and best quality metal in any RC car have been HPI. Lovely, pliable plastics. Now, where does the fault lie? Well, you could say the fault lies with people like me. I like HPI. I've over the years I've had lots of HPIs. Right now, I own 0 HPIs, none. So you could say I'm part of the problem. You haven't bought a new mic, you haven't bought a new HPI for a while. I bought a Jump Shot a few years ago, which was their brand new model at the time, but it wasn't very good, so I got rid of it. And then, well, that's another issue. That's the other side of it. It could be someone like me who's to blame, or maybe you watching this don't have any HPIs, and maybe you're to blame as well. But when it comes down to it, it's not the customer's responsibility to buy something. You need to produce something that's worth buying. HPI's biggest problem is they haven't released any new stuff for years. The Jump Shot was their first fully new model for way over a decade. They're still selling the Bullet. That's over a decade old. They're selling the Forza. I must be near a decade old by now. The Savage, way over a decade old. The Jump Shot was brand new. 3 years ago? Something like that. It was great in all but the gearbox. The gearbox was appalling, and they still haven't fixed it 3 years later. The gearbox with the standard brushed motor could get torn apart, and then they released a brushless one with the same gearbox. I mean, that's really not very wise at all. So HPI have been a bit funny. Their one new model was terrible. I mean, everything about the truck would have been great. The truck would have been great, but it was completely let down by the fact you couldn't trust it. You couldn't even run it, and then unless the gearbox was getting torn apart. And it didn't last very long. Even with a nickel metal hydride, even with a brush motor that came with it as a ready-to-run truck, it just didn't last. And as soon as you even thought about upgrading it, the whole thing got torn to pieces. My one was brushless straight from the off. I never ran it brushed, and before I'd even used half of that first lipo, the idler gear was completely stripped off. And then you could put not butchered it's the wrong word, but I basically modified 2 Firestorm idler gears. That's another model that's over a decade old. 2 alloy ones, made them fit. That was fine, but then the actual gear running off it, the diff housing was plastic, and that would get chewed up, and yeah, it wasn't a good experience. So the Jump Shot was the first new model in long time, and it was a bit of a failure. And then what they've done is they've released, that was the Jump Shot monster truck, they've released the Jump Shot short course truck, and the Jump Shot, what else was it, Truggy, I think, and they have the same gearbox, same issues, no improvement. They've basically designed a new shell, they've given it longer arms, they've given it different wheels and tyres, and they haven't fixed the inherent flaw. I have no idea what was going on there, because it was so obvious a problem and it raised its ugly head straight away. Why on earth didn't that get fixed? And then you have the Venture, which is the only other new HPI for a long time. Most of HPI's range, not all of it, the Wheelie King, Crawler King are slightly newer, but it's still quite old now. Most of HPI's lineup is over a decade old, and they've given them fancy new shells, maybe put some new wheels and tires on it, and it's still the same thing at heart. And therein lies a major issue. If you don't innovate, if you don't move forward, if you keep selling the same thing year on year on year, no one is going to buy one. If you buy a Vorza today, it's the same Vorza that they sold however many years ago, and you can just use the parts to fix your old Vorza, so why buy a new one? And I think that's one of the fundamental problems. Yes, Traxxas cost them a lot of money, but they shouldn't be just resting on their laurels to this point where they've got nothing coming out that's of any desire whatsoever. Everyone that's ever had a Vorza, or anyone pretty much, obviously I'm generalizing here, but anyone that's ever going to buy a Vorza, a Firestorm, I don't know, a Savage, a Bullet, they've already had one because they've been in it for that long. You're either brand new to the hobby and you don't really know, or you're experienced and you would have had one by now if you were going to get one. And it just doesn't work if you just release the same model year on year without doing anything. And then when you do release a new model, you don't fix the flaw. I mean, I just don't understand that at all. So HPI have not really done themselves any favours here at all. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a management issue or something, but something needs to be done. And I really hope they get saved. And if they get saved, they need to up their game. They need to start fixing the issues, because the Savage XS, for example, is a great little truck that people put lots of power through, but it doesn't survive that really. People put 3 and 4 cell through the Savage XS and it eats itself. It's fun, but it eats itself. And then you got obviously the jump shot, I've been over that, and all the rest of it. The Venture, yeah, nice truck, very good performing truck, but it comes with that really, I mean, this is subjective. What I think is a really hideous FJ shell. You know, you might like it, but they have only the one option. Where's the you know, look at Axial. They've got the SCX10 has how many different shell types. Okay, you don't like a Jeep. Well, how about a Toyota? How about, you know, whatever you want? How about a Land Rover? Whatever it is. You've got different tastes there. If you're only selling the one shell, and here's my model, I don't like that shell, I'll get someone else. It's just not good enough, really. And it's a shame. It is a big shame, because we need HPI in this hobby. We need these people, you know, Tamiya, Kyosho, HPI, people that have been there for a long time, that are household names. They go, yes, there's someone I can trust. There's someone I can get parts from. And right now you can't get parts, you don't get a warranty. Goodness knows what's going to happen next. I just really hope something happens. And if something, you know, if they do get bought out or something, I'll make a little video on it, and we'll reevaluate, you know, in a little while's time. In the meantime, enjoy your HPIs. They are great stuff. I mean, most of them have been really great models. The Sprint is one of my all-time favourite touring cars. It was just a simple, entry-level, non-adjustable car, but it was great. And you just, yeah, that's it. They just sat there and didn't do anything of any value for such a long time now that why buy a new one? That's the problem. Why buy a new one? Sad. It is sad. But anyway, we will see what happens. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you soon. See you later.